Hi, it's Robert Mitchell, and we're here at the 2015 Toronto International Film Festival. We're here at opening night of Midnight Madness for the North American premiere of Green Room. Congratulations on the premiere here at Midnight Madness.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. It's my first time ever being at Midnight Madness, but I'm like home. It's just like I've been aiming for this for 20 years, so here I am.
You've earned it. I mean, you're the Murder Party, Blue Ruin, and now this. I mean, they're great films.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, they're a nice little trilogy. And they share the same DNA, you know? Murder Party being a sort of a siege movie, and Blue Ruin being a little more serious and emotional and stark. And I think Green Room is a sort of culmination. It's a little bit of both, you know?
Could you tell me the character you were playing in the film and how you prepared to play that character in Green Room?
Yeah, I played Pat. He's the bass player in the band. I was in a punk band for a while, so some of that world I understood, and I just listened to a lot of old punk records I hadn't listened to in a while, and you know, did the mental and philosophical preparation that I needed based on the script. But in terms of like practical preparation, I lost some weight, played some bass guitar, had band practice.
Could you tell me the character and how did you prepare to play this intense character?
Well, I've been preparing most of my life. Since I was first aware there was such a thing as cinema, I had loved really scary movies. And of course I couldn't see them when I was very young, but I read about them and heard about them. And as I got older, I was drawn to every single one of them. And some of the images that remain in my head from early movies are from movies in this genre. So to be given the opportunity to be in a classic of its kind, and indeed to play the leading bad guy, was irresistible.
When I read the script, it's just kind of like, for me as an actor, you read a lot of scripts, and like the best kind of frame I can tell you is that like ones you can get through really fast and ones that you're like, I need to take a pause, get a coffee, get distracted. And this one I read in like a heartbeat. It just is like a very well written, sharp plot, and like in the characters and everything just happens in this like very realistic, fast-paced way that's like really intense. And so yeah, once I read it, I was like, this is the fucking coolest kind of movie. I get to be in a punk band and get killed by Nazis. I was like, I'm super into it. And yeah, it was written for a guy originally. The guy's name's Sam. And then I ended up playing Sam, and they didn't change anything about it, and I was like, perfect.
That's amazing to hear that. Like, it was originally written for a man, and then you step in and like own it.
Yeah, totally. And they didn't have to change anything. It's just in like the headlines of being like, she walks into the room or whatever. Yeah.
It shows you a lot of times in movies. I mean, men and women. You know, obviously there's going to be times where it's specifically written for a man or a woman, but
times where it's not necessary. Yeah, and I think that like feeds into like. Yeah, not having to be like commenting so much on like the women dynamic in a film. It's like, yeah, but sometimes there's just characters who are dealing with weird fucking crazy shit where they might get killed any second, and a man and a woman might handle it the same way, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
You've worked with Jeremy before in Blue Ruin and now Green Room, and what's he like to work as a director?
He's a nightmare. He's a disaster. I don't care for him very much, but he keeps hiring me, so I say yes because I need the work. But no, he's a terrible person. No, I've known him since we were little kids and we grew up together, and yeah. So it's I'm just delighted to get to do this again.
These are intense roles. How do you prepare for this kind of intensity?
Oh, last time I grew a beard. This time I shaved all my hair off. You know, it was pretty much, and then yeah, and then it's just stand where he tells me to stand. Yeah.
What was it like to work with Jeremy? He's done some cool indie films before.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Blue Ruin, and I was just happy to be a part of a film from a filmmaker that I admire.
And acting in this film, what did you learn? Did you learn anything new about the craft of acting?
No, nothing. I know everything there is to. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think that every time I work, I learn something new. You know, and that's why I'm here. It's because I keep learning, and hopefully what I've learned will make something, you know, in the future work will affect something. You know what I mean? It builds everything. I don't think there's a moment that goes by that we aren't all learning, as cheesy as that sounds, you know? So to say I didn't learn anything, I don't know what it is specifically, but I feel different after that experience, you know?
You grew up in the Washington punk scene and DIY, that ethos. Does that translate at all into your independent spirit of filmmaking?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you know, I grew up making movies, listening to punk rock, so it was always sort of the same thing. And I'm glad I finally got an opportunity to bring those two worlds together. And I used a lot of stories from my youth or friends bands that were on the road, and I modeled the evil band in this movie after a band that I was terrified of in the pit back in DC. So
you're working with an amazing cast in this film. What's it like to work with these guys?
Humbling. I just kind of keep my mouth shut and try and learn what I can and not come off like a dummy. It's great.
Could you share some insights of something you've learned about acting in this from acting with everybody in this film?
Yeah, don't blink. Makes you seem way more intense. Yeah, no, it's just that, everybody has their own way of coming at things. It's all very detail-oriented and present, and it's just, these are a lot of people I've admired and looked upon for a long time, and it's great to...
Can you tell me about the character you're playing, and how did you prepare to play her?
Yeah, so her name's Sam, but now it's Samantha instead of Samuel. Yeah, they're in a punk band. They're kind of at the last leg of their tour. They're not doing so well. They don't have that much money, and they're kind of just like tired and exhausted. And it's this very slow, realistic pace. And then they play this last show at this like skinhead Nazi bar, and then shit gets weird. Sam kind of takes over what I chose to do with it is like she's kind of the manager, the one who's like taking over, like she collects the money, she's the one who follows through the deals and stuff. And so she kind of like I took it as like a maternal aspect of just being like, I gotta take care of these boys, but she's kind of fed up with them and just being like, make sure we fucking show up to the place on time, can you guys please do what you have to do, like those kind of things. And it was really fun, but it's really like two different movies, the beginning and then when it turns as an audience member, it's really unexpected. And even being a part of it, watching it, I've only seen it once, but like watching it, I was like, you still don't expect it. And I shot all those scenes. It's like still very like, what the fuck is happening? And
what a great movie it is to read it and it's so fast, and then to watch it and be surprised by it.
Yeah, so much has to do with Jeremy's directing and then the editing and like, just so much of it. Like every single part of the team who made the film was like made the movie what it was. You know what I mean? It's not just like some like actory piece where it's like they write a bunch of dialogue and we just like ham on camera. It's like so much about the plot and the timing and the editing, and like it's so specific. And Jeremy has such a amazing eye. He's like a real amazing filmmaker.
So great that childhood friends that grew up wanting to make movies to make movies.
Yeah, exactly. I can't believe we've been so lucky that this is, it's amazing.
And this is about punk music, and you were in that wonderful film directed by William Macy. Yeah. And I was wondering, does music influence you? Do you listen to it to get into a role?
It depends on what the character is and whether I feel like that's something that I want to do for the research. Sometimes I'll just watch one movie over and over again. But for this one, it was. Especially since I love punk. I love hardcore. I love thrash. I love old punk. I love that stuff. I mean, I prefer Circle Jerks, but I love Black Flag. I love late Black Flag. I love that stuff. So for me to dig that out and get to listen to it again was a blast,
Yeah, I'm sure you're bringing a lot of energy in this movie too, playing in the punk band.
Yeah, it's pretty energetic. When we did the live scenes, it felt like we were playing a show because the punk music is so active. Like when you're playing it, you're playing fast and aggressively, and that motivates people being aggressive in the crowd as well. And yeah, so that was intense. It was like every take was like playing a gig over the same song.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, as you said, I read in a previous interview that you said this film, Green Room, was a step-by-step learning process of the film industry. Could you give a little insight into that?
I really shouldn't say. No, it's crazy because I come from the world where I can make a movie by myself with my high school friends, but the easiest part of the film industry is actually making movies. The hardest part is just navigating the business side.
Scheduling.
Yeah, it was pretty intense, but but then you realize like yes, everyone has their own lives and like 5 other projects in development, and to get these people in one place at one time was as hard as anything else. But when it comes together, it comes together, and I have thicker skin now. I'll tell you that with the whole business side. But being here, I realized why you go through it, just connect with the audience.
I was wondering, you've lived such a remarkable life, and do you have any insight on how to live a great life with art?
I learned quite recently that the great Sigmund Freud said there are only two elements to a happy life: love, surprising, and work, less surprising. I think it's true.
Hello, sir. Yeah. Very nice to meet you.
And you, yes. Is that it?
No.
Oh, I thought it was it.